A good place to start talking about what forensics people do is at the crime scene. And here we are, the crime scene. So, what's the first thing that when they find a crime, the police come? What do they do? What's the first thing they do? Well, first thing is to take care of the place. Now, in theory, only a person who's well trained in collecting evidence and securing and taking care of crime scenes should be there. But usually, it's just the first responding officer. So, what do they all have to know about? Well, the first thing that they have to do is ensure everybody's safety. I mean, they are, after all, police. They are policemen, right? And they have to make sure that everybody is safe. That's what they're paid to do. That's what their job is. So the first thing they have to do is make sure everybody is safe. Okay, once that's done, the most important thing for them to do is to exclude everybody who does not belong there. That's very important because these people do destroy evidence and you really don't want them getting in the way. They also have to identify all the people who are standing by. Find out who witnessed it, who witnessed the crime. Who actually can you start suspecting as a perpetrator of the crime, like family members or who knows what. Make sure that these people are separated and secured, and if they're, make sure that you can keep them there so that you can question them later and they don't just disappear. And again, very important that you isolate the area, that you define the area that the crime took place in, and find where it didn't, so you allow anyone else to go. You define the area, isolate it, and find all the entry and exit areas. The reason why is, well, the criminal got in or got out. You have to know, these things. They may come back in. I mean, you don't know. You have to know where the entry and exit areas are. Also, you have to know that some people might, strangers might be curious and they're going to come in. You want to stop them. So find out where all the entry and exit areas are. Then you call for backup. If you're not the professional, and even if you are, you probably are not someone who should be collecting evidence alone. You really need help in collecting all that evidence. So notify those who are capable of doing it, or those who are trained in it, or just for assistance. All this is important when you set up a crime scene, which is an area that is, defined as where the crime took place, and is somewhere that you do not want unauthorized personnel to be. The problem with them, with unauthorized personnel, is that they destroy evidence. This is the main problem. They destroy evidence. Okay, they walk around, they may ruin somebody's footprints, they may touch things and contaminate DNA. Anyone who gets in there can possibly destroy evidence. Not only that, they also get in the way. If you want to go from one place to another place in a way that doesn't disturb evidence, they're in your way, you have to move away, you can ruin things. They also ask questions and detain you. And while you're involved with them, some other people may enter and leave, and you don't want that to happen. Usually people listen to police officers, and they can just send them away, but sometimes it's hard. There are people who have political affiliations. They say, "Hey, I'm the local politician. You can't boss me around. I want to see what's going on." Or there may be the victim or the perpetrator might very well be someone who has political connections, and they don't want you, and they're going to want to disturb the police proceedings. So, but you've got to take care of them. If you're doing your job, take care of these people, even though they are the mayor or who knows what else, or some kind of political connections and are powerful people. You still have to get rid of them if you can. Some people, they just want to get on your way because they don't like the police for whatever reason. They could be that they themselves are criminals and don't want police around. So they might want to be disturbing you. Okay, you got to take their care of them. You got to remove them from the crime scene. If that means getting backup, then you need that. Also, sometimes there are family members that they want to be around, especially like someone was just killed in their family. It's very hard. They have to get out of there because you don't want any evidence contaminated. But it's not easy to get rid of them. So you may have a problem, but you really have to try to remove these people from the crime scene. Once happened that there was a crime scene near our house, and I happened to be home, but my father wasn't home at the time. He was trying to get home, but the police stopped him. They said, "You can't go. You can't go down this block. You can't, or whatever it was. You can't go any further." He said, "But I got to go to sleep. I got to go home." Apparently, the crime scene, they suspected that even around the crime scene near our house were possible places of evidence. So they wouldn't let my father come home. He had to go to sleep at my uncle and aunt's. So there are many reasons why people would want to get into the crime scene when they don't belong there, but it's the job of the police or of the investigators to keep them from getting into the crime scene. Very important. Here's a case, the John Benet Ramsey case, if I'm pronouncing correctly, 1996. There was a 6-year-old girl who ended up dead. She disappeared. There was a ransom note for this amount of money, $118,000. And the problem was that the police investigators did not secure the crime scene. They did a cursory search. I mean, they heard about the crime. They went to the house. They searched it. But they did not secure it. And a total of 5 other people managed to get in and out unobserved. And you don't know how many times they went in and out unobserved, but they were able to get in and out. And these are only the people that they actually know entered and left the house. John, who was the father, also left the premises. And when he came back with 2 of his friends, they discovered the body. Now, the question asked is, did they really discover the body when they came back? Maybe they brought the body from somewhere else. Well, it's hard to know. The murderer, they actually suspected the parents for whatever reason. So who murdered her? Who kidnapped her and murdered her? Or maybe she was never kidnapped. It was just killed in the house. They suspected the parents, and you found DNA evidence that, besides of the parents, but you really can't question the parents who lived in the house having DNA on the clothing of their daughter. But they found DNA of a stranger who also handled her undergarments and her sleepwear, her pajamas. And because of this, the Boulder District Attorney in Boulder, Colorado, they cleared the Ramsey parents based on this DNA of someone else. The problem is, how can anyone know if this was true? How do they know that this DNA actually came from somebody else, who actually did the crime? You can't know. If the people were getting into and out of the crime scene, the DNA could have been planted. Or maybe they took the body out and someone else helped them. That other person's DNA got on it afterwards. Nobody knows. That's the problem. If you don't secure the crime scene, you may never be able to solve the crime. Had they secured the crime scene, they would have known if a stranger would have gotten in and out, and they would have known if the DNA actually did belong to a stranger. But we just don't know because the crime scene was not secured. Very, very important to do. So, at the crime scene, the first responder, the first person who gets to the crime, should not disturb anything, including opening and closing of windows. It might be hot, it might be smelly. Do not change anything if you can avoid it. In fact, this should actually be part of your notes. It was hot, or something like that. It may be of importance. Take a look at what's going on around.